Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about my top 5 tips to get the most out of any yoga class. Now obviously some of these apply for in-person yoga classes only, but a lot of them apply for even when you're taking a class online or if you're doing YouTube videos. So some of these apply for that as well. So let's just jump straight into it. Tip number 1, arrive 10 to 15 minutes early. I know that might sound kind of extreme to some of you, but there's really good reasoning behind it. So first and foremost, if you arrive 10 to 15 minutes early, you have time to kind of set up your space. You can lay out your mat, fill up your water bottle, go to the bathroom. You can talk to the instructor, let them know any special needs that you might have, or if you have like injuries, things like that, you can discuss that with the teacher. Even if you don't need to do that, sometimes it's good just to sit and zen out for a minute before you begin so that you can really ground and center yourself. Reason number 2 behind that is if you give yourself a 10 to 15 minute buffer, as you are driving, if things come up where, somebody's being crazy driving or you get stuck in traffic or if there's an accident or something happens that slows you down, it's not going to stress you out quite as much because you already know you have that buffer in there. So, this can apply to yoga classes or it can really apply to anything. I always drive with like a 10-minute buffer because it just decreases my stress level so much to know that I have that extra time. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, leave your cell phone at the door, okay? Cell phones are such a distraction. And like all the time, okay? But when you're trying to do yoga or you're trying to participate in a yoga class, having your cell phone there, it immediately brings you out of your body. It distracts you, it takes away the presence, and it can really just detract from your experience as well as the experience of everybody around you. So leave your cell phone in your car, or you can do what I do, leave your cell phone in your shoe out in the hallway. If your studio has lockers, put it in the locker. If you have to have it on you, turn it completely on silent, not on vibrate, like if it's for an emergency. Although I will say, if you have some emergency that you have to be in connection with your phone, maybe reschedule for a later yoga class because it really can be just such a distraction. And the whole purpose of yoga is to be present. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, use props. Props are not just for beginners, okay? They are so useful. Ask your teacher at the beginning of class what props will be required, pick them all up, put them down next to your mat so that they are there just in case you need them so that you are completely prepared ahead of time. You don't have to get up and walk over to the props to grab what you need halfway through the class. Collect them at the beginning, set them near your mat so that you are ready to go. Don't be afraid to use the props. Oftentimes people will go into classes with the assumption of if I don't have to use the props, then I'm not going to because it'll make me look like a beginner or whatever else. Props are not just for beginners, okay? They can really help to maintain the integrity of certain positions. They can help you to extend and expand beyond areas or positions that you thought you could go to. They will help you to focus in certain positions to get stretches or strength exercises in the areas that they're intended for. So don't shy away from props, okay? They are wonderful. And I will do a whole nother video just about props because seriously, huge advocate, okay? I love props. And you will too once you start to use them on a more regular basis. Tip number 4, be present. So I know we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but when I say be present, what I mean is really try to focus inward. So as you're listening to the teacher talk, make sure you are focusing on your own body. You should get to a point where you are so focused in on yourself that you are oblivious to what other people are doing, and you shouldn't have any worry about what you might look like while you're doing it, okay? In yoga, comparison is seriously the devil, okay? There's no point in comparing yourself to other people. What works for one person is totally different for someone else, and just because someone can do something in a more aesthetically appealing way doesn't mean they're necessarily doing it correctly. Okay, so there's nothing to be gained by comparing yourself to someone else in a yoga class. Just worry about what's going on inside yourself. Focus on what you're feeling, not about how you're looking. It's not about how you look, okay? The whole purpose of yoga is to connect to yourself and to connect to your body and to help increase the longevity of your body by stretching and strengthening and really helping yourself to grow, okay? It's not about gaining a certain aesthetic, okay? That's not what it's about. So be present in your body. So important. If you take only one thing away from this video, it's be present during your yoga classes, okay? Number 5, don't skip out early, okay? Don't skip the Shavasana. It can be the difference between taking whatever stress you brought into the class away with you again as you leave and leaving with that extra special feeling of Zen, okay? Shavasana is one of the most important parts of the practice because it allows your body to rest and digest the practice. So it's really that moment for you to reconnect again. Hopefully you've been present and connecting throughout the whole practice, but when you get to that very end part, it's like a signal to your body, this is my self-care. This is my time to rest. Don't let anybody, especially yourself, deprive yourself of that little rest at the end of that practice, okay? Shavasana is so, so important. And then take the moment at the end to ground yourself as you come out of Shavasana as well, okay? So don't skip out of class early. Obviously, if you have somewhere you have to be, again, I would schedule a yoga class that you can really stick it out for the whole time, okay? But if you have to skip out early, that's fine. Let your instructor know ahead of time. Slip out quietly so that you don't disturb the other people in the class, okay? But if you can at all help it, don't skip that end, okay? The end of the class is so, so important. So those are my top 5 tips for getting the most out of a yoga class. I hope that this has been helpful to you. If you have any other tips to share or any comments, questions, please feel free to comment below. Let me know. And then if you'd like to be notified anytime there's a new upload, please feel free to hit that little notification bell or to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.